Hello, today we're going to do a book review on our favorite book of the year. Actually, it's the premise for Allergy Navigator and for a lot of our business statistics and education. And today we have Dana Mohan, who is our educator for Allergy Navigator and co-owner. And she's going to tell us what she learned while she read this book and did the research and just share some Q&A together.
So this book came to me because I was doing some research when we were first looking into starting our business. And I have already read so much over the 10 years I've been dealing with food allergies and everything. And I just happened upon this title, and the title caught me. I mean, it was just kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Food Without Fear is exactly what
we needed.
What we need.
Yeah.
So,
and at first, and I don't think at first, like, we knew what our problem was. Like, when you started learning about food allergies were your culprit, were the true root problem of your health stuff that was going on.
Right, and you don't even realize that you are so fearful when you want to go out to eat, or even making things at home and going to the grocery store and stuff like that, until you start to actually live it and you start reading about things like I did in this book with other people. I was like, oh, I do walk around with fear.
Yes, and there's so much fear around it that I couldn't even finish the book. So yeah, I got into the book, and it really kind of brought up a lot of symptoms, like this is why this was happening to me, which was scary. And I have 2 daughters with a lot of food allergies and asthma, so it just really rang true to me. So I'm like, I'm just going to pause and we're going to let you tell the whole book.
Yeah, well, because it was the opposite for me, because whenever I was reading it, and I had the same thoughts of like, oh, this is why. It was more of an answer to me, and then an understanding of where I could take it from here. And so that was actually liberating for me.
Yes.
Where it was fearful for you. Like,
I know, Nick. Yeah, what a great title.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So how would you describe the book in one sentence?
This book, oh gosh, you guys. Okay, first, this book is the Bible for allergy sufferers. It is definitely a reference, but this book has so much important information in it that it cannot be overlooked. The way that her name is Dr. Ruchi Gupta, the way that she presents it in the book is so easy to read and understand. And anytime I have a question now about anything, it is the latest research, I go and refer to this book.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be without it. I hope there's I hope she keeps updating it as the new information comes out.
Yeah, and as I said, like, this is the premise for a lot of these statistics and the information and facts that we have on our website, and it comes straight from the person who actually, Dr. Gupta's background. Can you tell us a little bit about who she is?
She founded the allergy research at Northwestern, what led to the may contains and things on food labels. Yeah. And they're getting better and better all the time. But from where they were 10, 15 years ago to where they are now.
So I think she pioneered that whole system. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
She's pretty impressive.
So what is the main purpose of the book?
I would say Food Without Fear, in my opinion, is meant to educate, but it's also meant to debunk any myths around food allergies and where they come from. Can you outgrow them? Do they just appear out of nowhere? That sort of thing. It also has the most recent science. And I say recent, I'm talking 2019. I mean, that's
very recent.
Yeah, this is recent. And I think she was writing this during COVID, from what I remember her mentioning in the book. So you can imagine how, this is only 2024. That was just 2020, 2021. So we got the hands-on information here.
Yeah.
And then it addresses the whole allergy sufferer. It's not just the physical, but the mental and emotional toll, the financial toll.
Yeah, that was overwhelming to find out.
And then the statistics that they talk about on how much it costs an average family with a child who has food allergies. When you're talking about doctor's visits, the special food you have to buy, supplements, medications, things like that.
And that's a big deal. Like, my daughter at college, she was like, you need a larger food budget because everything you eat is special, and it's at least double. Like when you're buying from Kroger or, and that's why she became such a big fan of Trader Joe's because Trader Joe's actually has a lot of gluten-free, tree nut-free, friendly foods that she could have at a cheaper price. So
Yeah, and I don't think that's fair. It's almost like it's discrimination.
yeah,
They
yeah.
know that we have to pay that because we're not going to be able to eat much food if we
Yeah,
don't.
you're eating it because you're sick. Like you
Right.
have to eat
You
it,
have
or
to eat it.
you will. It could cost hospital bills. I mean, actually, it could cost more if you didn't go by those guidelines.
Yeah, actually, in the book it says, and again, don't jump on me if I get this wrong because I'm not the best on remembering every single detail, but I think it said every 3 minutes a person is taken to the hospital for a food-related attack in the United States. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
every 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many people are leaving restaurants and the restaurant doesn't even know that they've had a reaction, but they're having a reaction maybe when they get into the car? Or it doesn't even have to happen right after
Yeah.
you've eaten something. It could happen
Up to
2,
4,
4,
6 hours,
6
even the next
hours,
day.
48
Yeah.
hours later. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's
can-
so true.
It's scary.
Yeah. So, what questions or criticisms do you have about the book? Any other
I
feedback?
don't have any criticisms about this book. This book blew me away. And I went through and wrote all in it, bent pages.
There's so much important information. It's just like page after page.
Page
And-
after page. Every page is something to go,
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, because I remember I would like have to stop and make notes or like email myself like these are some great facts that we can use and then help other people identify like this is why this is happening. And
Yeah, reading it.
is there any challenges, anything that you could debate on the claims or arguments that she has in the book?
Well, so Dr. Gupta is at the forefront of the allergy research.
Mhm.
So I am actually reading another book that we'll probably do a review on too. It's called The End of Food Allergy. In that book, they actually refer to this book
For a lot of the research, right?
for all the research and stuff. So I can't imagine that this could be wrong in any way because other people are also doing the research and then using her research.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the topic of allergies, food allergies, asthma, or any of those related?
Well, while reading the book, I had a lot of ahas. And I now understand what media and social media are trying to do to portray good and bad things about food and allergies. So I feel like that you and I are not alone in the struggles that we've had, which is why we created Allergy Navigator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming to the exact right time to help spread the word and to help other allergy sufferers understand what's actually going on and how you can move forward with it. So
How you can deal with the challenges that you have, whether you're
Yeah.
eating at a family member's house, you're eating at home, you're shopping. I mean,
Mhm.
there's just so many things that continually pop up with food allergies, and it's 3 or 4 times a day you have to deal with it. It's not like you just get to deal with this here and there. I mean, we
Yeah.
deal with this 3 or 4 times a day every single
every
day.
single day,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And then so no, I wouldn't think it changed my opinion on it. It just definitely led more toward understanding.
Yes. Okay. So did it confirm your opinion on food allergies and your knowledge and stuff, or?
Yeah, both. Yeah, definitely. I learned and relearned so much about my condition and other conditions and to epidemic proportions. I mean, this is not just a United States thing.
Well, and
this
it's
is a
growing.
world thing.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
growing every
Mhm.
single year exponentially from some of the numbers that she shared.
Yeah.
Whether you're born with food allergies or, and in most cases, people are getting them in adulthood from, was it
Mhm.
age of 13 or 18? Okay.
18,
Uh-huh.
between the ages of 18 and 40, I
Yeah.
would say that it tends to happen a whole lot more. I just feel like the world is going to have to stand up and listen to those with food allergies. I mean, we walk around with this invisible disability,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it is.
It is.
It's an invisible disability,
Mhm.
and when you're sitting at the table and you're having to ask these questions and everything, just to make sure that you're safe enough to be able to ingest the food that you're ordering, people are going to have to, stand up and take notice that this is a real thing.
Yeah, because it can kill you. It
Yes.
can take a life.
Yes,
It's-
yes, and
yeah.
and Dr. Gupta talks about so many instances in here where a little girl just was going over to a friend's house that she'd been to many times before,
Mhm.
and she had a cookie that looked like the cookie that she eats at home, and
It took
she
her life.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was just going to a little party, so it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Yes, and then if you don't get the help you need, or you go to a restaurant where they don't offer food, allergy-free foods, then you're hungry. And so that's what I experienced a lot. I was very hungry, and hungry at home, because at first, before I knew what my allergy problem was, I was just reacting to everything I ate. So I mean, it's a very sad state, and reading this book can help you identify where to get started, how to help yourself so you're not get to the point like where I was, where you were starving.
Right. Yeah. And then you feel like you can't go anywhere, and you become isolated.
Social,
you isolate
yes.
yourself, and then
social.
yeah. And this book really talks a lot about, not just, we were talking about the physical and mental and financial impact, but also the environment, and then your on top of your environment, but the emotional toll that it takes on when it comes to like depression and isolation that we were talking about.
Yeah, emotional health and well-being.
Yeah, because you're just afraid to do anything,
Yeah.
and you don't know how. At least I know how I felt. Didn't know how I was going to react, so I was afraid. I didn't know how to get dressed, because my biggest issue is swelling, and I can swell to the point where I have to come out of my shoes or take my rings off and things like that. And
So you have to be prepared everywhere.
I have to be prepared everywhere. I just was afraid to leave the house. So yeah, it's a major situation that needs to be addressed, and not just because I was swelling and afraid to leave the house, but because it can kill you.
Yes, it can kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of stories, lots of information here. What was if you could pick one single most important or impactful story in the book, what would it be?
There was a little girl who passed because there wasn't enough epinephrine. She had a pen, but they needed another one. And I think they gave her the second one, but they needed the third one. And don't quote me on this again. It comes from this book, but I can't remember all the details. But that one kind of stood out in my mind a lot, where I was just like, whoa.
It's always carry two.
She talks always about, carry the two. But then I wonder how many restaurants actually even have an EpiPen in their safety kit.
I know.
Yeah. Because what if two is not enough?
Yeah. I carry Benadryl and 2 EpiPens, so I always have Benadryl on me, 2 EpiPens, and and just you got to call 911 as soon as you use them.
As soon as it happens.
Yeah. What was most shocking?
What was most shocking? I think it was the statistics.
Yeah.
The number of people in the U.S.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
who deal with food allergies, and everyone thinks that a food allergy starts when you're a little kid. But mine started in my late 30s.
Mine was in my 40s, mid 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I went my whole life without.
Me too.
So,
not a single thing.
So we were less prepared. Like if I had been born with them, my mom would have taught me.
Exactly.
And prepared me. And I think she talks about this in the book. It's even harder on adults who get food allergies, because you're trying to understand it. You're trying to deal with it. It's a shock to you as a person.
Comes out of nowhere. One day you're eating a food that you've eaten your entire life, and the next day you notice you can't.
Yeah, so you're totally scrambling. Like you have to get educated, you have to get equipped, you have to learn what can you eat, and how to read ingredient labels. So you're starting from scratch, and I think that's where a lot of the fear and anxiety comes from, is just knowing that you have to do your due diligence, or you could die.
Yeah.
Honestly.
She also points out that even the small allergy reaction is something that could turn into something really big very quickly.
I think that's what scared me, and that's when I stopped reading, maybe like chapter 5. I got to chapter 5 and I was like, wait a minute,
Which is something, I started thinking, oh man, because I think in another video I mentioned, sometimes I'm like, we're out of the birthday party or something, and I might have a little something that I shouldn't have, but I know it's only going to be a little reaction. But really, according to this book, how do I know it's going to be just this little reaction,
Yeah.
How do I know that this isn't the time that it's going to, blow up into something else?
And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but we'll be eating somewhere, and I hardly ever have any reactions anymore. But I'll be sitting in a room, and as soon as we eat, I'll hear someone go, and it really stands out now, because that's like how mine started.
Yeah.
That was how mine started, was like I was always clearing my throat after I ate food, which I never do now. So that's kind of like my measuring, that's how I measure,
Right.
Was this food good for me? Was this food bad for me? I have several indicators.
And I'm sure that everybody who deals with food allergies have those. I have my indicators too. You have yours.
Yes.
So you have a little PTSD then, huh?
Yeah.
Listening to other people.
Yeah.
So you're like,
But I wonder what was in their food. Was it preservatives?
Right.
What was it?
Right, yeah.
How would you say the author did on engaging you as a reader and persuading you through her writing of the book?
Like I said, it's really remarkable because there's so much information in this book. I'm going to have to read it 4 or 5 times to even be able to digest
Take
it all.
all in, yeah.
Right, but the way that she lays it out and the way that it's organized is easy to follow. It's easy to understand. And even though she includes a lot of, medical information, it didn't lose me.
Yeah.
And I think to the average person, now I have to preface, I've been reading medical journals
Oh, yeah.
the last 10 years,
Yeah.
so I've kind of gotten used to that. But I really, even if I gave this book to my mom, who does not read medical journals, she might have a couple of questions, but I don't think that she'd get lost in it.
Yeah, and I think that you said she kind of educates you as she goes. So she builds on the background education she's already given you. So when you get the next new piece of information, it's like you're there with her.
Exactly.
Okay,
I couldn't have said it any better. That's what she does.
Yeah, yeah.
Or say that wasn't the case. So
yeah. Because she has so much research at her fingertips, and there's so much false information to debunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like just even based around tree nuts and nuts and
Mm-hmm.
I can pick them off of the salad and you'll be fine. You go to people's house, I'll just pick out the walnuts. You can still have it. Did this book inspire you to take any action or make any progress in your own life?
Oh yes, I have implemented some of the strategies that she talks about in this book, and they really do work. And now I have a better understanding of GMOs, which she debunks GMOs in this book. We are taught through social media, however else we receive our information, that all GMOs are bad, but not all of them are. And so I really did not know that at all.
Yeah, because we all believe that. It's just kind of like they're all, stay away from GMO foods.
Right, yeah. And then she also talked a lot about where food comes from, the processes that it goes through, and a lot of that I didn't completely realize until she points it out, and then you're like, oh, well, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of things here that she did, that she talked about, that I now understand better, and am able to teach others about, because I feel comfortable enough with the information that she provided that I can say to someone else, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, it kind of backs what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like reinforces what we've been doing already and also how we're training to help others.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of catching you off guard here with this. One of my favorite stories, I guess, in the book, because it was kind of new information, and I think a lot of people need to know even little things like this. But the whole peanut allergy, can you tell that story, or how she shared the information and educated us on when you have eczema?
Oh, yeah.
And you can get a peanut allergy from having eczema, and then for small children.
This is a big one. I didn't even know this at all. So she talks about how skin conditions in infancy can lead to allergies, food allergies later in life, because and I'm probably going to get this quote wrong, but the way I say it is, on the skin, hold on, what does she say? She says, in the diet, allergies are quiet. On the skin, trouble within, or something like that.
So, yeah.
It's something like that. I'll have to look it up in the book. But that's kind of the takeaway from it, is that if you introduce foods orally, like you're supposed to, then the likelihood of having a food allergy are small. But if your child has eczema, or even like a broken area of skin, like they've been cut or something like that, as simple as that, and a food touches that area, then they can create an allergy to that food because of the broken skin area. That was
pretty. That was alarming. First of all, eye opening, and how many?
And my nephew. So my sister has twin boys, and one of them has had eczema issues since he was a baby, and oh man, and I'm just waiting for his food allergy to show up. He's 12 now, so he hasn't had any just yet. But even I have to say though, I have to back up. He did have some dairy issues as a baby, but he hasn't had any that we can foresee at this point. at 12 years old, but I'm expecting them based on what she said.
Yeah, and I think she also debunked, like, like when you're pregnant that you shouldn't, like, they tell you don't eat this food or that food. She's saying, do not do that.
Right.
Because,
yes.
yeah, I think that makes it worse. Is that right?
So she says in the book that research shows that women do not need to leave out foods while they're pregnant. They just need to eat what they would normally eat, outside of eating like raw fish,
Right,
where
yeah,
you can get
yeah.
some sort of disease.
Get sick yourself.
Yeah.
And,
During pregnancy, she advises that you do not keep any foods out of your diet because it's not going to hurt your baby. And whenever the baby is born, there is a process of introducing foods, but don't hold them out, until they're 2 or 3 years old. She actually says that as soon as they are able to eat solid foods, then you should start introducing these things to them. Then she also talks about the process of introducing it to them. You don't want to do everything all at once. You want to do one thing at a time.
Yeah, so you
to
can
see
how
if
they
there's a
respond.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you want to wait a number of hours or even a day to see if there's any reactions that are delayed. So she definitely debunked that for me.
Yeah, I love
and
it.
I even sent some stuff to some friends who were pregnant and my niece who just had a baby and was telling her about, don't wait to introduce these things to her. Go ahead and give her the peanut butter and see what happens, the eggs, the dairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was great learning in the book.
Yeah. I just say that if there is anything that you have any questions about with food allergies, this is the book to read.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, reach out.
Yeah, reach out, ask us questions below. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love it to be able to answer some questions for you because I've listened to it now twice and have read it once. Probably going to have to do it several more times just to get it all in. But
yeah,
it is the Food Allergy Bible.
Yes. So today, thank you for sharing about the book.
Yeah.
So we're going to actually share some stuff from our website and a link below. If you want to see more of our book reviews and trip reviews and how to prepare and plan as an allergy sufferer, please subscribe to our channel.